Good evening, and tonight we're going to do the third of the 10 meditations on the 5 all accompanying mental factors: investigation and analysis, the parts of the mind, trying to find the mind, describing the mind in conventional terms, its mere name, realizing its ultimate nature, not truly existent, uniting the two truths. That's what we'll be accomplishing, hopefully at the end of this 10-fold meditation program on the parts of the mind, the most basic parts of the mind, the all accompanying mental factors that always accompany each of the consciousnesses or primary minds. So I'll read you the pre-text before you do the preparatory practice. The 5 all accompanying mental factors are so called because they accompany every primary mind. If just one of them were missing, the primary mind would not be able to cognize its object. And we generate mental and sense awarenesses. So in this meditation, we're going to look at desirous attachment. Yesterday we looked at anger. This time we look at desirous attachment. Again, it's our mind at the cause. Pause now, so the preparatory practices. Okay, so without further ado, I think I wrote this entire meditation from my study of how to understand the mind, from my understanding of it. In a previous life, we had a mistaken discrimination. We observed a sentient being, and instead of recognizing our mother from previous lives and generating virtuous minds, instead labeled them as an object of attachment, as a friend or someone we wanted to be our friend. We regarded this person to be the cause of our happiness and a means for us to fulfill our selfish wishes. We identified with what they represented to us. We developed disturbed, desirous feelings, and we behaved selfishly because of mistaken discrimination. You can bring to mind an example or two from your own life, something like that. The next paragraph or next step. On the basis of self-grasping ignorance, we believe what appears to exist in the same way, truly existent. We believe what appears exists in the same way, truly existent, and others who disagree are wrong or do not know what we know. We may develop other delusions, such as covetousness or jealousy. Specifically here, we can examine the karma we create when we develop desirous attachment. Upon the basis of this mistaken discrimination, we regard a certain person to be inherently pleasant and the cause of our happiness, without considering how our mind has created this person for us and how our mind is related to these thoughts and experiences. And we commit non-virtuous actions. This view is the basis for our contaminated feelings and the means by which we fulfill our selfish wishes. We think that our friend and his qualities exist from his or her own side. So we don't really fulfill our selfish wishes, but we pursue our object of desire and live our life according to our desires. There's no real satisfaction in samsara. Suppose we mistakenly discriminate a friend and regard them as somebody to be controlled and conditioned into doing what we want for ourselves. These are non-virtuous intentions which come from contaminated discriminations and feelings. This leaves an imprint on our subtle consciousness, and this seed remains dormant until the conditions come together to enable that seed to fully ripen, as the suffering result of our non-virtuous action. Our mind exaggerates their good qualities and becomes obsessed with that person based on these feelings. For as long as we regard that person as being the source of our happiness, we will continue to be obsessed with them. Our mind shall be disturbed by whether or not we get contact with our object of attachment at any given time. So the mind of desirous attachment often causes us to wish to control others' behaviour and condition them, manipulate them into doing what we want for our own selfish wish, disregarding their happiness. This is obsession. To commit this non-virtue, whether or not we get the opportunity to carry out our despicable plan or not, we develop attention on the means by which we hope to complete our mental action of covetousness. With mental factor attention, we focus upon the particular attributes of our object, such as some of our friends' interests, or their friends and their enemies, and we seek to align ourselves with these interests. Attention helps us develop a plan over how we will fulfill our desire. Our end result is from our intention. It is non-virtuous if it results in unpeaceful minds. Of course, non-virtue is the cause of suffering. That's how you know if it's a non-virtue, a delusion, because you've got unpeaceful minds. For example, our desirous or covetousness wish might be to become somebody's boyfriend, or spend more time with him or her, or to prevent others from spending time with them, jealously controlling them. We have focused our primary mind on the object, our desire to get what we want. For example, to control that person, or manipulate their friends, and we have paid attention how to achieve that goal, the particular attributes of our object. Intention and attention. You see that a lot of controlling behaviour of boyfriends or girlfriends. Relationships based on attachment are always full of conflict. We develop mental and sense feelings based upon these mistaken discriminations that is caused by our delusion labelling them as our object of desire or our special friend. We experience them as pleasant to see, to hear, or to be in close proximity to them, and we experience thinking about them as pleasant, all because we hold the view that they are an inherently pleasant person. One delusion shall be the basis upon which other delusions develop. If we are not careful, we can become obsessed with our object of desire, and we can develop secondary delusions, such as shamelessness and distraction too, or anxiousness or depression. When we are thinking about our friend, our mind has come into contact with the object of desire, and we develop these unpeaceful feelings and non-virtuous intentions. Mental factor contact perceives its object as pleasant because of mistaken discrimination, has already decided that this is an inherently pleasant person. Mistaken discrimination causes contaminated feelings and contact in the mind at the moment when these unpeaceful feelings are manifest, because the object appears to our mind. Right, this is just my opinion, my take on it. I do recommend that you join a study program such as the foundation program or a general program, and discuss and debate with others these ideas. There's different ways of viewing things. These 5 all-accompanying factors are present at the time when we complete the karma of the non-virtuous mental action of covetousness and the delusion of desiring somebody. Discrimination, contact, feeling, intention, and attention all played their part at the time when we committed the non-virtuous action. These actions condemn us to samsara, the cycle of uncontrolled, contaminated rebirth and suffering. For as long as we have these mistaken discriminations, we will be trapped within our true suffering world, and we will be in great danger of taking lower rebirth, where it is almost impossible to find escape. And the last step, the placement meditation. Therefore, with all our courage and effort and wisdom, we need to apply the 5 forces and win freedom from this cycle of suffering. We must abandon delusions, wrong awarenesses, mistaken discriminations as soon as possible. Okay, that's the contemplation and meditation. Now I'll read you the postscript. The 16 wrong thoughts explained in the Lamrim teachings and listed on pages 177 to 178 are all based on mistaken discriminations. For example, the second of these, not wishing to take the essence of our precious human life, involves the mistaken discrimination that the only meaning of this life is worldly pleasure. Dharma practitioners should make prayers to be free from all these mistaken discriminations because they severely hinder our attainment of the realizations of the stages of the path. Lamrim realizations are attained by eliminating these mistaken discriminations and developing the opposite, non-mistaken discriminations. So that's a book you need to read. Also to understand delusions, to understand wrong awarenesses, and to understand mistaken discriminations. And delusions are examples of wrong awarenesses and mistaken discriminations that are the root cause of samsara and our suffering. There are other types of wrong awarenesses and mistaken discriminations that we can study. That's the divisions of various things, to give ourselves a very clear idea of what we have in our mind, to understand our own mind. We may develop secondary delusions such as miserliness, pretension, denial, self-satisfaction, shamelessness, distraction, inconsideration, mental excitement, non-faith, laziness, non-conscientiousness, deluded forgetfulness, and non-alertness. Extremely dangerous minds that condemn us to endless rebirth in this terrifying mental prison of samsara. So if we follow mind of covetousness, desirous attachment, that can happen. Or maybe we had a horse and we used this horse to enter racing competitions regardless of the health and happiness of the horse. Or maybe we committed sexual misconduct with somebody's wife. Or maybe we was covetous of the company of someone we liked and engaged in much idle chatter, wasting our human life. These are examples. What can happen if we follow covetousness?